So nothing should surprise us in this business, in this day and age, but I gotta say, even after back-to-back losing seasons, I was a little taken aback by Mike Vrabel being fired by the Tennessee Titans. I was hoping that Rand Carthon, who both of us have an affection for and know well, go back with, Mike Vrabel, who you go back even farther than I do with Mike Vrabel. I was hoping that partnership could become a dynamic duo, but it didn't work out. But I want to talk about where Mike Vrabel may work next, because you and I have had conversation after conversation about what's happening with Bill Belichick, and we still don't know for sure.
Right.
Is Mike Vrabel going home? Does Mike Vrabel want to be the man that follows the man? Is that the expectation? Is that the desire, not just with the New England Patriots fan base, but with the New England Patriots organization? Because I'd heard whispers about this, and actually I'll source it. Charles Robinson has been telling me about it. Our boy Charles Robinson from Yahoo has been bringing Mike Vrabel to the Patriots up all season long. Ever since the Belichick chatter started, he kept bringing up Mike Vrabel. I'm sure you've heard that as well.
Yes.
From your sources. So, is Mike Vrabel going to succeed Bill Belichick? And if he does, can he succeed?
Well, look, this is a good time. This is a good time to think about it for anybody succeeding Bill Belichick, because if Bill Belichick had done a Bill Walsh, leaving after winning a Super Bowl, and hand it over to your boy George Seifert. Hey, keep this going. I'm handing you a Super Bowl team. Let's see what you do. And Seifert was like, cool, I'll win it too. So that was, the pressure was on, and he was able to deliver. If Bill Belichick had walked away after 2018, pressure's on anybody. Win a Super Bowl, Belichick walks away, you win a division title, losing the first round, people are like, what? But think about what's happened since they won the Super Bowl. 3 of the last 4 years, they've had losing seasons. They go to 1 year, they go to the playoffs, they get blown out. Worst playoff loss of Belichick's career. So anybody stepping in after Belichick, if you have a winning record now, that will be seen as successful in Foxborough. And Mike Vrabel knows all about the Patriots, won 3 championships with the team. He knows all about the crafts, knows all about the fans. But there's also, what complicates this is there's somebody in-house already who may have been promised the job, who also was drafted by Bill Belichick. Vrabel was signed by him, but Gerard Mayo was drafted by him. He played with Vrabel and Teddy Bruschi. He won championships as well. He knows the crafts. He knows the area.
Hold on. Hold on. That may have was not a guess. Tell me more about this promise. There's who may have been promised. The inflection in your voice suggests there was more than a may. Yeah.
Let me tell you something.
Tell me more.
And I know it's Dave. I know it's please tell me more. Inside joke. We can never tell y'all that secret, but we know. Anyway, David Tepper. We may go in on David Tepper and how he's a terrible owner and he doesn't understand what he's doing. However, only 32 jobs. And last year, Gerard Mayo turned down an opportunity to interview with the Carolina Panthers for a head coaching job. He turned it down, stays with the Patriots. The Patriots insisted that he stay, sign an extension with them. And Robert Kraft has said many times, I think he's even used the phrase heir apparent. Talking about Gerard Mayo, loves Mayo. Robert Kraft loves him. Jonathan Kraft, team president, loves him. And so everybody walked around this year, moved as if Gerard was the next guy, to the point.
Well, we talked about that the other day.
Yeah, some of the assistants on the staff, right.
Yeah,
some of the assistants on the staff, like, oh, okay, that's the guy? He's the man? So some people are offended by that. Other people are like, well, let me get my political game going. Let me cozy up to him so I can line up my next job. So everybody thought it's going to be Belichick out, Gerard Mayo in. Mayo probably sitting there yesterday in the barber shop getting his hair cut. Then a news flash, oh, shit, what? Mike Vrabel, because Mike Vrabel is him. That's him with experience. Mike Vrabel is you with experience. So Mike Vrabel is you with a playoff win or two. Mike Vrabel is you with a reputation, with the fingerprint in the league.
Yeah.
So it really, do the Crafts stay with the plan, or are they distracted by the coach? Who are you looking at, Neo? Were you looking at the woman in the red dress? Is Gerard Mayo? Are they looking at him?
No.
So that's really it's complicated now. This is a complicated story.
Well, because the fascinating thing about Vrabel has always been, like, he is not necessarily seen. So whenever there's the conversation about the failure of Bill Belichick disciples, Mike Vrabel is either the exception or not even included, just because he didn't coach under Bill Belichick. He played for Bill Belichick, but, I mean, his coaching experience is Romeo Crennel, Bill O'Brien. Am I correct? Right? Like, it's not.
That's right.
He's not one of the other guys who's, whenever we put up the graphic and it's Bill Belichick assistant coaches and they all got losing records, you know what I mean? And even Bill O'Brien, for that matter, came from, Penn State before he was the offensive coordinator. I'm sorry, he was the, I get that? No, he was offensive coordinator. Then he went to Penn State.
Started with the Patriots,
right. Then he went to Penn State. Then he went to Houston. So he had a head coaching, successful stint in college before he went to Houston. So a lot of times he's not looked at the same way that the Manginis and the Patricias and the McDaniels of the world are looked at. Is that fair? Is that an accurate summation of the Bill Belichick
I think that's
tree?
Fair. But I think it's fair.
So
but
Vrabel has looked at it as his own guy, more so than somebody trying to be Bill Belichick, is what I'm getting at. Is that accurate?
Yeah. But I think what's happening, and this is the unknown again. There's the known of Vrabel in coaching, the unknown of Gerard Mayo as a head coach. But here's the unknown as well. All those Belichick guys, they come from the same factory, just like Belichick. Wesleyan, D3 guy, get into coaching.
Mm-hmm.
Matt Patricia, D3 guy, get into coaching. Brian Daboll, D3 guy, get into coaching. Josh McDaniels, D3
came up the
guy.
same way. They came up the same way.
And didn't play in the league. Mike Vrabel played in the league, D1 guy, at perhaps the best school in the land, in Ohio State. And then Gerard Mayo.
I don't think you can't say that. You can't say that for a while.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think you can say that until at least next season.
I know it's tough.
You can't do that.
It really sucks. It really sucks that they actually won a championship for the first time in 27 years. Who's counting? But
I'm so old. I remember the draft that Mayo got drafted. I covered that draft. 10th overall out of Tennessee. I remember that. Yeah.
These guys played. So they're not going to be. Yeah. They won't follow the same Belichick thing. It's like the Belichick guys didn't play in the league. They're more cerebral than instinctive. They have some instincts, but mostly cerebral. Where Mayo and Vrabel are cerebral and instinctive because they have their playing careers and they have their young coaching careers to rely on. They know players. They know how players think. And McDaniels and Patricia and Mangini, they know what they've observed. But they really can't say, I've been in these shoes and I know what I would want in this situation. I think that makes a big difference. I think Mayo and Vrabel will be successful at their next stops. It's just a matter of, is Mayo's first stop taking over the Patriots, or is Vrabel's second stint taking over the Patriots?
I guess my point was from a Patriots organizational perspective. There's a level of familiarity, but it's not the same old. It's not a continuation of if you're trying to reset the culture or trying to have a fresh start, even though Mike Vrabel played for Bill Belichick, he's not another Bill Belichick. Gerard Mayo is his own man, even though he played for and has coached under Bill Belichick. If I'm saying anything inaccurate, let me know.
Right,
he doesn't.
Correct.
Yeah, he's not another Bill Belichick. So it's the best of both worlds. If you are the Crafts in either case, I mean, part of me is like, would I like to see Gerard Mayo get a shot? I would like to see him get a shot. Would it be dirty if the Crafts decided to take the more established coach who they're also familiar with? You think would that be dirty on their part? Like, I'd be disappointed, but I don't know if I'd go so far as to call it like this promise. Was it ironclad? Was it contractual?
No, a promise.
Was it like
It's a promise.
It was a straight up promise. Yeah.
You asked. Yeah. I had an opportunity. Now look, it would have been bad. Maybe I would have been fired.
You did say that. You said that. You said that they Yeah, you said that. That he turned down
maybe I would've
opportunities
been
to interview
fired.
elsewhere. Yeah, no,
If
that's
I go to Dave Tepper, I know even if I get fired, I'm walking away with a bunch of money at least. I'm walking away. Because as reckless as he is with his decision making, he's also reckless with the checkbook. So fine. So
there's precedent for it. But there's precedence for it. Like things change, man.
What's the precedent?
Things change. I mean, one doesn't immediately come to mind, but things change when it comes to like, oh, you're gonna get this when this happens, and then something happens. Yeah, it happens in every walk of life. It happens in our business where you take a job or you sign a contract, and then the person that you signed with is no longer there, or time passes and circumstances change. It's just there's a lot of market. Yeah, or somebody comes on the market. You know what I mean? I mean, you're saying that there's a situation in New England. So if what you're telling me is like, while there was this promise, and while he turned down opportunities elsewhere under the assumption or the understanding more accurately that he would be the heir apparent to Bill Belichick. So why is there a situation? They didn't anticipate that Mike Vrabel would be available. You know, they didn't know that Vrabel. They didn't know that Vrabel. Oh, wait, hold up. You know, got to be known even longer. Got it. Won 3 championships with us. You know,
I would stay
sucks,
focused
but
and
say, you know,
that's my guy. I'd say if I said Mayo's the guy, Mayo's the guy.
What's the meme? What's the meme with the guy walking down the street with the girl? So it's Patriots, Gerard Mayo, and, turn around, Mike Vrabel, like you know what I mean? You know. But wait, this relationship here. Let's get into that real quick. The Ran Carthon. Mike Vrabel Tennessee relationship. I set it up the top real quick, but just as we wrap up this conversation, they didn't come up together. They don't have history, but I felt like, from what I know about Ran Carthon and from as well as I think I know Ran Carthon, never got the impression that Mike Vrabel gave him a problem, or that Mike Vrabel was a problem for him, or that he couldn't manage Mike Vrabel. You know what I mean? That he could not get along with Mike Vrabel, couldn't work and be successful with Mike Vrabel. Can't speak to whether Mike Vrabel was feeling Ran Carthon or not. It's just disappointing because I think they're both good at their jobs. Ran Carthon's going to be a great GM. Mike Vrabel's a highly regarded head coach. I don't think you got to be best friends to work well together. I felt like they could have. Nope. I felt like they could have worked. They could have or should have, and I wish they would have found a way to make it work. We'll see who the Titans end up with, but as a good coach, good GM, what's the problem? Only Miss Amy knows.
Yeah, you know that. As you're a creator, man. You're a creative guy. You are a content creator, producer, and you just know you can't just put 2 talented people together and say, okay, go. Lights, camera, action, go. Just go, do your thing. Like two like funny people, 2 smart people, 2 incredible people may come together and it may not click. It's just one of those things. That's the beautiful thing.
You can't put Katt Williams and Steve Harvey on the same show. That's just not gonna work. You know what I mean?
Or you can't put Katt Williams and Kevin Hart in the same hallway because according to Katt, 25 years. 25 years, he's just a voice. Boy.
Hey, got some coaching news that just crossed. How you feel about this? Because you had a cup of coffee in this here town.
Cup of coffee. Quick, I didn't finish the cup. Didn't finish.
I'm not surprised because they played well down the stretch, but there was a lot of talk about whether or not, especially with this coaching free agent class, the Bears were going a different direction. So they're officially keeping Matt Eberflus after quote-unquote extensive meetings. Is Bears gonna bear? That's your face says. Your face says Bears gonna bear. Oh no?
It's not a bear. It's not even a Bears thing.
Okay.
It's a.
What is it?
This tells me about Eberflus, man. I know. Look, I shouldn't count anybody else's money. I shouldn't make decisions for other people. But I just know how it works. And if you lose one coordinator, okay, that happens. If both coordinators are out and you stay, you probably didn't make that decision, or you made that decision to save your own job. I just don't respect. I don't respect it. I just gotta say it.
Gone.
I have no respect for it. I don't respect
Luke
it.
Getsy's
You
gone
should
as well.
either keep him, or you bounce with him. Like, no, I'm out. I'm out. Look, the late great Marty Schottenheimer did that same thing. That's how he left the Browns. He left the Browns back in the day. Art Modell was like, hey, I want you to change this coordinator. I want you to do that. He was like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not going to blow up my entire staff. Now, if you don't like the way the operation is going, you should just say, hey, I'm in charge of it. I'm accountable for the operation. If you don't like that, I think you're probably saying, I need to go. And that's how they left. He went to Kansas City, had a great career. Go ahead. That Eberflus, I know nobody's checking for you if you leave the Bears job, so I know money's involved, but I just think it just lets me know. That's not a guy I would want to work with, because when things get tough, and things will get tough, you need somebody who's going to have your back, somebody who's going to stand on principle. So,
well, I mean, beyond that, and again, you know, I'm glad you like the phrase, and we're going to keep repeating it. Everybody's interim. It's like if you're keeping him under these circumstances, like the offensive coordinator's gone, you're already looking for a defensive coordinator, like whoever takes both of these jobs and moves their families to Chicago, if they have to move, knows that Eberflus is on a hot seat next year. Not that anybody's not always on a hot seat in the Windy City, as you know, but like
yeah, but it's the hottest.
Right, it's like it's already hanging by a thread. It's already hanging by a thread. Yeah. So, but I want to stay in Chicago though, because this is an inflection point for the Chicago Bears. This is a monumental opportunity ahead of them. They have the #1 pick in a very deep draft, full of stars at the top, at the quarterback position. It's interesting how the tables have turned when it comes to Justin Fields, who they were trying to run out of town. Now it feels like it's getting louder and louder in support of Justin Fields, led by DJ Moore. But, I mean, they were chanting Justin Fields' name in the second to last game, I want to say it was. But obviously Caleb Williams is there. Drake May is there. How should the Bears play this? Because they could also, like, make that Panthers #1 pick the gift that keeps on giving. Let's quickly franchise mode the Chicago Bears. So you're not. Yeah. So you're getting new coordinators. You're keeping the head coach in place. As you sit here, right here and right now, are you keeping Justin Fields? Drafted Marvin Harrison Jr. 1 overall. Keeping Justin Fields. Trading down from the #1 pick.
Yep.
And getting more. That's the one. So you're not resetting. Because you're not resetting the quarterback contract with a Caleb Williams.
Nope.
At #1. Nope.
That's my guy.
All right.
I'm sticking with Justin Fields, and I want to bring in. Hey, look, I'll tell you a guy who he did the best he could with a limited, with limited resources, but I think he's available now. And his old team has a #2 pick. I think Eric Bieniemy's out. Is Eric Bieniemy out? I know Rivera's out. Is Bieniemy out too? With the Commanders?
I don't know that he's been fired. Okay. Honestly,
because that's
and I can't tell you for sure because I also have not seen anything that suggests like, oh, they're all free to interview for other jobs. That might be the case. I may have just not seen it. But you know, a lot of times when the head coach is fired and everybody's still under contract, hey, go ahead and look for other jobs. But that's a good question. I don't know. I'm not sure.
I would bring in. Okay, now this is I have 2 ideas, and one of them they both have their layers of irony. So I'd go to the team with the second pick in the draft, the Washington Commanders. Y'all need a quarterback, and the price from 2 to 1 is high historically. To go up that 1 slot is high. It's gonna cost you just to go up from 2 to 1, and with a quarterback like Caleb Williams available. I'm expecting at least a first rounder back and other goodies. Because that's what it takes. So I'm going to go to the Commanders. You interested? If the Commanders ain't interested, I'm going to the Patriots. I know y'all need a quarterback at 3 to 1. I'll do that. But I'm also looking to bring in an offensive coordinator. I'm looking to bring in Eric Bieniemy to work with Justin Fields. And if not Bieniemy, Josh McDaniels, who actually hired Eberflus when he was briefly, you want to talk about a cup of coffee, when McDaniels was briefly the head coach of the Indianapolis Colts, had agreed to the deal, Eberflus was part of that staff. So turn it around as D coordinator. So now Eberflus head coach, bring in Josh McDaniels to work with Justin Fields. And I'm going to trade down to 2 or 3, and I'm grabbing Marvin Harrison Jr. Either Harrison Jr. or a tackle. I'm not in the quarterback market.
Well, what I like about the way Ryan Poles seems to be approaching this, if he does stay the course with Justin Fields, is building a roster and an infrastructure that sets whoever the quarterback is up for success. Because look, Justin Fields is not without his flaws, but to say that he's always had talent around him, to say that he's always been in a position to succeed, whether it's schematically or from a supporting cast standpoint, would be false. And so going back to us franchise mode in the Bears, and wonder if
what would you do?
I'd have to dust off the old PS5 here. No, I mean the idea of trading down and letting this just keep flipping it, and letting that number 1 pick from last year just keep
great asset.
Just keep delivering returns, just keep flipping it is very intriguing. I would probably trade down if I could. It takes 2 to tango. If I could, I would trade down and just get more and more picks, and just and have that thing, appreciate with value. You know what I mean? Like guns and butter. I would have it appreciate with some value.
Right.
I would probably trade down. I'm with you. I would keep Justin Fields because I still think his best football is ahead of him.
And Mike, they have another pick too. Besides
by the way,
they have their own pick.
Their own pick. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and they play good football down the stretch. I said it about Eberflus. Maybe Eberflus, isn't, maybe he's not George Hallis. I don't know. Maybe he's not Mike Dicker, and maybe plenty of people would love to have seen Jim Harbaugh come home. We talked about Vrabel coming home, seeing Jim Harbaugh coming home, or a sexier coach. But that team, especially on defense, really played well down the stretch.
I like that team.
It showed a lot of improvement. Yeah, I like
that team.
All right. One more coaching headline I want to get to before we take a break. 8 years, $120 million. In this economy, and the only reason I say in this economy is because, because coaches, man, it's just, especially if NFL coaches think they got it bad. In the NBA, man, nah, bro. One day you're here, next day you're gone. In the NBA, I can't think of a better coach to spend $120 million over 8 years on than Erik Spoelstra. To me, there ain't even much debate. This is just here's your money, here's your flowers. I'm old enough to remember LeBron James bumping him going to the bench. Heat culture. I know it starts with Pat Riley. I know it's Wade County. But this dude, to come from the video guy, come up under Pat Riley, and become the coach that he's been, he takes a backseat to none of his contemporaries. None of his contemporaries. He's already in an exclusive club in terms of winning multiple championships in NBA history. It's not that club ain't that big. They got, it ain't jam-packed. They ain't even a VIP in that club. There's plenty of room to walk around that club. Spo
exactly.
is in it.
You almost, yeah. It's not a club. You see the same old people, though. It's one of those clubs you kind of glad you're in, but you know what to expect because you see the same old people in there.
The way he develops players, the way he coaches circles around, the way he coaches circles around most of the opposition. Every time the Heat are in a playoff series, the first X factor people point to is the other guy, whoever it is, about to get circles coached around him by Spo.
Yeah, and he's I'm glad you mentioned Heat culture. He's the embodiment of it. Now, he's the embodiment and the continuation of it. Yeah, it started with Pat Riley, but Riley, he's there with the franchise, and the cameras always find him sitting there with Zoe, just both of them sitting there, arms folded, not talking, just checking it out. But day to day with the players, setting the tone for daily operations is Erik Spoelstra, and I'm glad it's a reward for a guy who started with the Heat in his early 20s. So it really is, when I say it's the embodiment, it's everything that Heat culture is about. You start, you work your way up, you're grinding right there in the film room. Different era of film room. Nobody even knows how to work that equipment anymore.
Actual film.
Yeah. And he's, and also what I like about him, like his dad is part of the NBA too, so he comes from a basketball family, but was not really handed anything, and just kind of worked his way up into the coaching staff, then taking over the spot, got the support of Riley and the respect of Riley, which is huge. It's a guy who didn't play in the league, and people still look at his intellect and look at his insight. He's got great insight into the game, and they give him his props. So good for him. I'm glad to see he got that $120 million contract. It's good for him and good for all coaches, because if that's the ceiling, everybody else is like, okay, I ain't asking for 120, but you can break me off 100. You can break me off 90. Yeah. You got Monty got that, and Spoelstra got that. Let's talk and redo this contract. Good for Spo and good for the whole coaching profession.
All right, let's pay some bills, take a quick break, and let's talk about some people who are doing a lot of talking and saying a lot of nothing. In some cases, they're telling lies, but all lies will be exposed. All lies will be exposed in 2024. Hey, Natalie, how are you? Nice to see you. Been a long time.
Natalie,
Happy
what up?
New Year, Michaels. Can I still say Happy New Year like this on January?
Yeah, you 10th? Can.
Okay.
For like one more day.
No? Okay. Michael, no?
Then, one more day. Then
look, you're lucky to get a Happy New Year from me on, we talked about this. You're lucky to get a Happy New Year from me on January 1st.
New Year's Day.
Like, it's understood. Just, like, how about this? From now until perpetuity, everybody, Happy New Year for every year you get to see moving forward from Michael Smith, okay? There you go. But
that's
so
not,
I think,
taking it for granted. You're taking it for granted.
I mean, Natalie,
You're
January
so
11th. No, I'm not at all. No, this is the opposite of extra. I'm removing something. This is less. This is do less. Anyway, talking about extra, I'm glad you said that. Because Natalie, you are, and Michael, you too, but I'm saying this to Natalie since I'm seeing it for the first time in the new year. You are a great detector of bullshit. And there's just been a lot of it flying these days in these media streets. And it's one of the reasons why, and Michael and I, we haven't even really talked about it in depth. It came out last week. The aftershocks are still being felt of the explosive conversation that Katt Williams had with Shannon Sharpe. But the reason why I know it's so fascinating for me, guys, is because it was needed in this moment. Like, I don't know, I think there was a lot of cap when it came to Katt's personal abilities. I don't know what's true and what's not as it relates to, everything that was going on in Hollywood. But for me, it was more like, hey, I love listening to this man talk, number one. I love listening to him talk. I could listen to him talk for hours. I would visit, if not join his church or stream it online. The dude is captivating. But beyond that, Natalie, I love somebody who has put in the work, who has grinded, who has not taken shortcuts, decide, you know what, and this is not me taking a shot at anybody else, I'm talking about his truth, decide, I'm not gonna sit up here and just let people lie. I'm not gonna sit up here anymore and just let people speak falsehoods as fact, enough of it. And I would add, several people in media right now are doing this and getting away with it. Because Natalie, the thing that scared the crap out of me is how much are people just going on, because everybody got a podcast.
Yeah.
How much are people just going on all these podcasts and these platforms and these shows, spewing lies, and nobody's checking them on it? Like Katt Williams did us a public service, regardless of where the truth begins and ends. It was a public service to watch somebody say, hold on, that didn't happen, and I'm about to set the record straight. There needs to be more
I wrote the
record set straight.
character. I told you what clothes he was going to wear and how he was going to talk and what color was going to be. I wrote the character. He doesn't write, though. He doesn't write.
Because Natalie, even in your own life, how much have you just let stuff go, or how much have we just let go? Or even if we don't realize we're letting it go. I'll stop rambling. Go ahead, Natalie. This is your thoughts on the aftermath of Katt Williams.
Well, no.
This new age.
Yeah, I mean, I just thought it was funny, like to watch it, to listen to it, everything he was saying. And like you, I did appreciate him wanting to call bullshit on what was said, though I agree there was a lot of capping coming from him. So it's funny to watch you call cap on others while you do it, or at least I think you were doing some of it yourself. But I am someone who likes to check people. I don't like things to go unchecked, right? Sometimes not to people's liking. Like, I like that he did that. And another thing I really liked about it, David Dennis Jr. had like a really, really great piece that he did for Anscape. But the fact that he was like going at his fellow comedians and other people in Hollywood and going at them, because a lot of times I feel like they look out for each other. Friends look out for each other. They don't say anything. And it's like kind of what they do to protect each other. And he doesn't care about protecting. He doesn't care about being ostracized. He's like, nah, I'm going to say what I have to say. And he protects the people who he thinks are real ones, right? He spoke up for Bernie Mac. He spoke up for others. I like what he said about Taraji, because I haven't heard that many people, not that weren't like other women, speaking up for her. So he hit a lot of things that I haven't seen other men with his fame, with his platform do. And I really appreciated that in the moment. So some of those things about it I loved. And then I loved all the different reactions we got to it, all the responses, whether it was in the post itself, whether it was rap bars from Luda to respond. He has like everybody just scrambling to put together some kind of response. And the fact that he knows his power, the fact that when he's on the show, he's saying, oh no, you're gonna get Oprah next after this. Cause Shay was scared. Like Shannon was like, he was a little shooketh. He was like, oh man, I don't know if I'm gonna have to show after this. Yeah.
He said he's gonna be canceled, and Katt was like, nah, it's the opposite.
Exactly.
It's the opposite. This is gonna be the greatest one.
I loved it.
He's right. I am a pro-black non-racist. Okay. But here's the thing, and Mike, we know this. Like, he spoke to some. This is why it's hitting on so many levels. As Natalie said, one, it's funny. He's just funny. He's funny sounding. Yes. He's got funny content. He just got great timing.
The great story.
But also, and Mike, we've had this conversation. He articulated some things that we have talked about with each other, but we haven't really gone full out in our industry, when he was so insistent on people who write, who, as he said, construct words for a living. And he wanted to call out the people who write and who've been on the grind, who are all about the craft. He knows all comedians, as he said. He has really studied comedians who are good at what they do. And some of the people who are promoted without putting the work in, or without having the talent, without doing original work, it's hard for him to respect, and he's kind of aghast that these people are getting their flowers. So I'm with you. We know we've had this conversation, Mike. You know we have. So I'm all for it. If you're about the craft and you're serious about it, you have my respect, whether you're a comedian or journalist or a lawyer or anyone else.
And thank you for that, because I think even though the conversation was specific to Hollywood and comedy, it was universal. It was universal because it's like, somebody who has put in the work that he has and who studied the craft the way that he has. Like, I hope, and for me, that was the best part. The best part of the conversation for me was not the drama, it was not the gossip, it was not the name dropping or the name checking or, no, it was not. That was not the best part. I didn't say it
that
wasn't
was part of it.
Fascinating.
It was entertaining.
To me,
but right. But
the best part was a peek into his genius. Whether or not he read 3,000 books a year at age 8 or not, the peek into his genius.
I did the math.
Like, for example.
He did not.
Nah.
He did not.
Nah.
Or the encyclopedias.
Guys,
Come on.
That was tongue in cheek. I'm sorry. My delivery. That's eight books a day. I'm just like, while you were a football star, while you were hustling, it's like he has different hours in the day than we do. Like, okay, but anyway, no. What I'm saying is, it's like there was one moment that I love, because I love process. I love people's process. I love a look into how they think and how they're wired. There was one moment in particular that I loved, among several, but one that immediately comes to mind was when they talked about the internet, and they talked about popularity that comes from the internet. He was like, no, it's actually the worst thing, because if I'm telling a joke and I'm telling it for an East Coast audience and then a Midwest audience and then a down South audience, that joke is being crafted and worked on, it's being sharpened, and then it becomes like, it was just like his thought process, or studying everybody else that he was going up against in an audition, saying, I know I'm funnier than this person, counting the laughs,
and crossing them off the list too.
That was fascinating. He had for all the mess and the messy headlines that came out of this, there were so many messages that are universal both to life and whatever arena you're in when it comes to work ethic. Like, what you cannot say enough about with this guy is that he has worked. And that's why he is literally standing on business, because he has handled his business and he has worked to get to where he is. And when he sees people that, like you said, Michael, that he does not think have done the work, or because he's done the work, he's an authority on what it takes to be good at this, man. So it was just there was so much more substance beyond the salaciousness, is what I'm getting at, that I hope people didn't miss, Natalie.
Yeah, I hope people, and people who are not in his weight class, hope they don't try to come at him, as he said, you ain't in my weight class. Or how about like going off, like, hey, Shannon, you missed it. My number one job is to be funny. So even when I'm checking somebody, I need to be funny, and he was. He was very funny, but as Mike said, the message is universal, no question.
Yeah, I mean, I do think there was a lot of deeper messages in there, so I agree with that. I don't know if that was the takeaway. I mean, I think it's fascinating. I think this is why...
For me, it was.
I think this is why this interview is going to keep being talked about for a while. I think one of the kind of storylines I saw out of it that was not specifically about the actual substance, but kind of about the way the interview was handled, right? There was like some criticism of Shannon, saying he was out of his depth, all of these different things. And I think that's sort of fascinating, because I don't know that he's out of his depth. I thought it was unexpected, and both of you have a lot more experience than me. So I'm curious what you thought, because like if you get...
Of Shannon?
Well, no, just like if you get an interview like that where someone comes on and like you're not expecting them to like come and unload the clip like that, and then they do, how do you handle it in that moment? Is it an opportunity for like a follow-up? It has 40 million views right now, right? And it's still going. So
a lot of them coming from me.
Yeah, you said you watched it twice. So like, do you just leave it as it is? Do you just leave it as it is and let the people keep talking? Or do you do something with it?
Okay, we could have this conversation. I hope we can have this conversation without anybody perceiving it as us hating. You know what I mean? Because it's like...
I genuinely want to know. I'm curious.
Yeah, okay, good. All right. So going back to what I said a second ago, part of the reason I have those takeaways is because I watched it 2-3 times, and after you get past the P Diddy or the TD Jakes, I had 2 goals in Hollywood. Like once you get past all that, you start to kind of hear him. It becomes like, oh, okay, So I feel like I've studied this interview from both sides, because you know how grammar nerds like us, we look at billboards and we see misspellings, or we look at lower thirds and see misspellings, there's a comma missing. So when I watch an interview like this several times, absolutely, I've watched it from Shannon's perspective. I have a lot of respect for what Shannon has done. I'll say this, Shannon Sharpe is probably as good an interviewer as I am a football player. Now, he's not alone in that. He's not alone. I'm saying that sounds harsh. He's not alone. Shannon Sharpe sounds like me when I was younger interviewing. Like, there are a lot of people who are bad interviewers, and they don't know it. They don't know that they're bad, okay? So Shannon Sharpe literally does not know what he's doing when it comes to interviewing. He's not as prepared as he thinks he is, and he has not yet learned to be an active listener and to follow up appropriately. That's an art and a science when it comes to interviewing that I have studied and taught, that Michael Holley has studied and taught, that we have done for 20 years, okay? So to look at Shannon Sharpe and critique his interview from the way that I would do it and I have done it, or people who know what they're doing has done it, like, just like Shannon has forgotten more football than I'll ever know, this is the inverse. This is my lane. This is Michael's lane. This is journalism. Having said all of that, Shannon Sharpe has built, at the risk of exaggeration, an empire, a minimum of brand that made Katt Williams not only seek him out to have this conversation, but comfortable enough. Katt Williams would probably, not that he needs anybody to make him comfortable. He's who he is wherever. But Katt Williams trusted and respected Shannon enough to deliver this on his platform. And so regardless of the technical aspects of Shannon Sharpe's interviewing skills, you cannot argue with the results. You cannot argue with what this man has accomplished in an arena that is not, he didn't go to school for this like we did. So him getting 40 million views with Katt Williams would be the equivalent of me deciding I'm gonna go play in the NFL right now and be successful at it. So did he fumble when it came to interviewing? Absolutely. Is that his ministry? No, not yet. He can get better at it. But for him to get this and all the other people that he's had come on his show, and for him to build the brand and the reputation that he has as a second act, cannot be commended enough. So I hope, Michael, that made sense that both things can be true. It wasn't a great interview, but it was still effective.
I agree with some of it, and I disagree with what you said too. I think it was successful. I think he did a good job.
I didn't say it wasn't.
I think he did a good job because of what it is. And you've heard, and you speaking of somebody who's taught it, okay, I'm going to quote the professor. I'm quote you. Mm-hmm. You said to your students, there are interviews and there are conversations. An interview is not necessarily a conversation. This was a conversation. This is a conversation with interview elements. And so he got exactly what he wanted. In most interviews, you're not sitting there chilling, drinking, okay, having a good time, referencing things that the audience knows and referencing things that the audience doesn't know. So this was for the format he crushed it. This was three touchdowns. This was 4 touchdowns in a game. It was unbelievable what he was looking for. He got
no 100% for who he is, for what the platform is, for who his guest is, what his guest wanted to get off. It was obviously a success. I never said, just like you never heard me say I won anything. I was the one leaving the house. Like, I never said it was not successful. And again, that's why I prefaced it by saying, can we have this conversation without being accused of being a hater? Because I'm happy for Shannon Sharpe. I pull for Shannon Sharpe.
Yeah, nobody's hating here.
Congratulations to him.
This is all love. All love.
This is a passion. Okay, you want to talk about the craft? I treat interviewing the same way Katt Williams treats comedy, okay? And so I'm very serious about that craft. The same reason that Katt felt the need to set the record straight when it came to previous guests and what they said, we're all talking about what Katt Williams said. A skilled and experienced interviewer or conversationalist follows up differently, has different questions. And this is why so many people in this industry don't know what they don't know. And I'm talking about trained journalists, and I was one of them. Don't know what they don't know about interviewing because we look at the results and we don't know what you could have gotten out of the conversation or the interview. Had you asked
a bunch,
better,
but
more strategic.
It could have been even more. Right.
So
Right.
as brilliant as Katt Williams was, in many situations, he was brilliant in spite of the prompts or the questions or the comments, because there were infinite amount of times where he had to correct, confirm, or deny, or clarify something that was said, not what was asked, but something that was said. This is
Natalie,
interviewing.
I want you to-
one.
Natalie, let me just say this quick. Now, I'll just go right to you, just very quickly.
Yeah, no, of
I'll
course.
interject to what Michael said. Okay, late in the interview, remember where he's talking about all these kids. You know, you've adopted 7 kids and all this stuff. And he said, Shannon did, hey, you ever gonna get married, Katt? But he kind of threw it out there, and he kept going. So Katt was listening. He said, hey, Katt, I never asked you about marriage. He said, you don't, well, play the tape back. You sure did.
Yeah.
I didn't answer it.
Right.
So, I mean, he was doing both. He was storyteller, because, Mike, you know this. You want to get the interviewer in storytelling mode. He was in storytelling mode because that's who he is, but he also was listening to what was being asked of him. So he's a brilliant guy.
He's a brilliant guy.
My takeaway is I've slept on Katt Williams too much. He's a brilliant guy.
Oh, same.
Yeah, and the reason I asked, I really wasn't trying to like go at Shannon. I didn't think that you guys are either. It was because I'm hearing both sides, and I'm like, on one hand, if you ask more questions, and there were definitely some follow-up that could have been asked, you don't know what you could have gotten. But at the same time, you could have missed out on stuff because like he was just like on a flow, and he knew what he wanted to get out, and he knew what he wanted to say. And I wonder if you would have missed some of what did come out if you did that. So that's the part where like I'm back and forth. Like I see both sides, and I was just really curious what you both thought, because you both have been doing this for so long.
It doesn't have to be either or. Like he would have gotten what he got and more. Not exactly the same, because some of it was prompted by whatever Shannon said. Katt responded, but like there are ways to follow up without taking them off the track that they're on. But having said all that, I do want to get to one other subject with you, Natalie, with the time we got left, if you don't mind, because I would love for somebody to. Speaking of Cap, okay. Your boy is so full of it right now.
My who?
I almost don't. Your boy.
Whose boy?
There are two people in sports. There are two people in sports that I'm trying to ignore. One is the Jets quarterback. Talking about just people just getting on television, just spewing bullshit. That's an example. And then, I just don't want to hear. First of all, the whole program that he had to go through, as if acting a fool on the court. Like, we ain't even talked about this now. I haven't talked to you since Draymond was suspended. The idea that it was like, you were just acting an ass. You were just acting a fool. Like, you're not going to tell me that every NBA player don't have something going on in their lives, and yet they ain't all choking people out or punching them in the face, okay? So, like, that just felt so, I don't even know how to describe it exactly, but that infuriated me, the way he was being treated as though there was something else going on other than he was just acting a fool. But then he comes back and says, oh, I was going to retire because this is too much for me. What's too much for you? You're like, that was so rich. Literally, you weren't walking away from $80 million or whatever it is he owed on his contract.
Right.
Okay, secondly, it's becoming too much for me. You are becoming too much for you, you mean? Like, what are you talking about? Like, there's just so, like, no, that didn't happen. You hauled off and punched somebody. You choked somebody out. Like, I'm just so over Draymond Green. I'm done with your boy. I'm done with him. I tried to respect him. I try to respect what he's accomplished. He's a Hall of Fame player. He's one of the best defensive players of all time. All of those things. But like, in terms of just like his credibility at this point, he has none in my mind, Natalie.
Yeah. Okay. Well, first, like, he's not my boy.
That was a lot.
No, he's not my boy. Like, the Warriors are my squad.
He just happens to play for your team.
He plays on the team that I support and cover.
Corrected.
But no, he's not my boy. I don't know the man personally, and I too am over Draymond, right? And if you've been following any of my tweets on Twitter, I can't tell you the number of people.
I'm not on Twitter.
Yeah, I can't tell you the number of people who have texted me around the Warriors in media, like, please keep the tweets up, because I don't have time for it anymore. You know, I have been over Draymond Green since he punched Jordan Poole. That was the line for me, right? You can find years of my tweets defending many of his actions, but the line was crossed with Jordan Poole. I do somewhat, I think, Mike, know your thoughts a little bit on like how a lot of that stuff was being framed, because I remember some of your feed items from before. And we did talk about the Draymond stuff. I might disagree a little bit, because I didn't like the mental health conversations that were going, like the way people were talking, because a lot of people were like, there's nothing wrong with him. And like they were framing like the reasons to go to mental health is like, he doesn't abuse anyone. He doesn't do that. And I'm like, that's not the reason you need to go to therapy. So
yeah, that's two
like,
separate things.
So
yeah.
right, but
yeah,
a lot of it was nothing is wrong with Draymond, and I didn't like that talk. Like Shaq said it, because like you're actually not qualified to say that. Like the reason you go to therapy is for things like anger management. It is for like managing your emotions. It's for all of these different things. And I don't know what is wrong with Draymond. I'm not a qualified therapist to do that, but I actually do think he needed to go to therapy. I do think he needs help. And so I think that was a good thing. And I didn't have a problem with that. What I did have a problem with is that I thought it felt performative. I don't think the league really cares about helping Draymond. I don't think that these things really matter. I think they just have to do this no time, like, you know, indefinite suspension. We're taking these steps because so many people are so frustrated by him. They wanted to make it appear more serious. So that was why I sort of was like rolling my eyes, but I just didn't like the corresponding conversation that was happening about therapy, because I thought it was mischaracterizing the reasons why people should go to therapy and why it's helpful. I know you want to say something, Mike, so that's just the first part.
Not
I meant Smith. But
Mike. You actually meant Mike. Yeah, yes. You actually called him Mike. Thank you.
Yes. But with respect.
My name's Michael. By the way, hey, everybody, my name's Michael.
Yes.
I'm Michael. That's
Michael.
Mike. Okay.
Michael Holley,
Anyway.
Mike Smith. But with respect to now, all of this stuff, now him coming back, I don't know the number of times I rolled my eyes yesterday. Like, with all due respect, I don't want to hear about you and Steve Kerr crying. I don't want to hear leopards don't change their spots. The word of the day yesterday was antics, right? Like the antics, I'm going to cut out the antics, whatever. There was this big focus on he's not going to really go over to the refs. He's going to stay out of the refs' ears. Really,
Okay.
Steve Kerr? This is the first time in all his years being here that you guys have told him to stop that. And then all of his responses to the questions, they were like basically what many often give Draymond the thing to do. Like, just ask him a generic question. He gets off this narrative he wants to tell. And there's not like a follow-up. There's not like what did you go to therapy, Draymond? What was it for? Like, he may not be able to disclose that or want to, but I want to know those kinds of things. I don't want to hear the same apologies, the I'm taking accountability, because accountability isn't just saying I take accountability or apologizing. It's change. Your actions have to change. And all I've heard from Draymond is I'm not going to do this again. I've hurt the team too much. I've done this. And then he goes back and does the same thing. He was asked if he's hurt Steph Curry's prime, if he's wasted it, and he gave this long, convoluted answer. My brother, the answer is yes. It's yes. You've hurt his prime. So it just was too much. I don't want to hear from Draymond. I want to see actions. That's it.
We're taping this now. You can let them fly. You heard me let them fly the other day.
I'm just saying. My naysayer. I just want to hear.
My naysayer.
Doing that now. Yes. Because
okay.
I can't. Right. I just want to hear. I just want to see the
Let
actions.
a
I don't want to
naysayer
hear.
know.
I don't want to hear nothing.
So, couple of quick things. We've talked about the stigma around mental health and therapy. It's the same as going to the doctor. You ain't got to be sick to go to the doctor. It's maintenance. Nothing has to be wrong with you for going to therapy. So there's that. My problem with it with Draymond is that if he needed help or anger management, he needed it 10 years ago. He's been this guy.
For sure.
He's been kicking people his entire career. These antics have been a part of who he's been his entire career. Now he's just old and not as good, okay? He's been the same guy that he was with TNT and the volume, and everybody made him this media star. He's the same guy. And I refuse to believe that Draymond Green is the only person going through things. I refuse to believe that Draymond Green is the only person managing things. He's the only one punching people. He's the only one choking people out. Like, Draymond Green is just being Draymond Green. So his problem, quote unquote, is that he's Draymond Green. And so what I have a problem with mental health is when it's used as an excuse and as a crutch, not as an actual form of rehabilitation, to your point, Natalie. So the performative word was a great one to use on the part of the NBA. But my issue is, it's like, just because when somebody acts out, oh, you need to go to therapy, or he needs help. No, he's just being an ass. Everything ain't a diagnosis. Everything is not a condition. A lot of things are, you just are out of pocket. Full stop. And that was my issue with Draymond, the idea that it was anything other than him just being the same person he's been, and he's gotten away with it for far too long. Now all of a sudden people are like, oh, now you crossed the line. He's been this habitual line stepper. Yes.
Can I point something out? This is all I'm going to say. I thought you were ignoring him.
No, because but
that doesn't mean. But
I'm not ignoring Natalie.
But Mike,
I'm not ignoring Natalie.
But Mike, that doesn't mean.
I'm not ignoring Natalie.
But that.
I'm not.
But
Natalie
that doesn't.
Hold on, Natalie. Natalie
Okay.
made strong points about the conversation around mental health, which is bigger than Draymond Green. So that's why I had so much passion about. But go ahead, Natalie.
Okay.
I'm just saying, it doesn't mean that all those things have been wrong with Draymond. That's all true. That doesn't mean that a therapist can't help him now through it, right? Like, whether you feel like you've diagnosed him and you know the problem, my point is that. Don't. Right, I'm just saying, anyone, right? Because I hear a lot of people say, like, this is just all what it is. And what I'm saying is, there's things you could have done your entire life. That doesn't mean that you can't, at any stage, start to correct them and be better. But I do think he needs a professional to help him with that. And if he's serious about the process, and that's what I don't know.
We all need that.
Right, and I don't know if he is. But if he's serious about the process, then I think it's good.
We all need mental health.
Correct.
Therapy.
Correct.
And treatment.
Correct.
Everybody does.
You know that's my mantra.
But my guy is doing stuff that nobody else in the league does. Nobody else does what he does.
That's why he needs out.
No, he needs to just go. He needs to just go away. Maybe he should have retired.
Just go.
Maybe he should have retired.
He was.
Just go away. No, I'm sorry.
We know that was Katt.
I just don't like.
Talk me out of it.
I just don't like people. I don't like people falling on that. It just feels like because it avoids accountability.
Fair enough.
It passes the buck to something else, as opposed to just, no, you're in control of your own actions.
I hear you.
I don't know why
Adam Silver, I don't know
why
you.
people lie. Why do people choose to lie? I don't know why people lie.
You said that the first time. And now you said she needs to think. Now she's thinking like a man too, huh?
Yeah,
you said that the first time. Oh, that was tight. That was good. That was so good. Oh, man, I was rolling.
All right.
I was rolling the entire time.
It's good to see you. Thank you.
Likewise.
Thank you, Nat.
I had that on my mind for a while. Like
I know you did.
As soon as he punched Nurkic, I was like, this guy. Yeah, I was like, come on.
It
man.
was the punch. For me, it was the choke. I'm like, what? Like, why?
Either one.
Why are you choking him and pulling him across the court? Like, what are you?
We all got stuff, man. Anyway, we can go on and on. We got to go. All right, Michael, I'll talk to you later. Y'all be good.
Hey, thank you for watching Brother from Another. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, go ahead and do that now. Don't forget, you can catch us 3 to 4 weekdays on PeacockTV.com and on Sirius XM Channel 85.